Hey, welcome everyone. My name's Eloisa Ramos, and I'm here with my friend Connie. Hi,
Hi
Connie.
there.
And we're continuing with the study of the text of A Course in Miracles. So we are continuing with chapter 17, Forgiveness and the Holy Relationship, and it's section 6, Setting the Goal. Okay, paragraph 1. The practical application of the Holy Spirit's purpose is extremely simple, but it is unequivocal. Inequivocal. How do you say that? Inequivocal.
Unequivocal.
Unequivocal. Okay, thank you. In fact, in order to be simple, it must be unequivocal. The simple is merely what is easily understood, and for this, it is apparent that it must be clear. The setting of the Holy Spirit's goal is general. Now, He will work with you to make it specific, for application is specific. There are certain very specific guidelines He provides for any situation, but remember that you do not yet realize their universal application. Therefore, it is essential at this point to use them in each situation separately until you can more safely look beyond each situation in an understanding far broader than you now possess. Okay. Okay, so I mean, this is just kind of explaining what I think is going to follow here. Number 2.
Okay. In any situation in which you are uncertain, the first thing to consider very simply is, what do I want to come of this? What is it for? The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning, for it is this which will determine the outcome. In the ego's procedure, this is reversed. The situation becomes the determiner of the outcome, which can be anything. The reason for this disorganized approach is evident. The ego does not know what it wants to come of the situation. It is aware of what it does not want, but only that it has no positive goal at all.
Okay. Okay, so that's really helpful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in any situation, the purpose, we have to be clear on what the purpose of it is first. And in my experience, everything, Holy Spirit purpose is everything is for healing. So everything, Holy Spirit purpose can use everything that the ego has made for healing. So I always try to keep that in mind. So that the judgment doesn't get into the interpreting of the situation. You see what I'm saying? Because if we let because the ego looks at the situation and only sees what's wrong with it. Yeah.
And doesn't really know how.
Yeah, it looks at it as a battle. That's, let's see.
Well, it says it has no positive goal at all. That's kind of,
It has no positive goal at all because it's a belief in separation. Okay. And a belief in separation basically says that I am separate from everything that's good, right? Because God created everything good. So what am I left with? The belief of separation. Well, it's a perspective that everything is sinful, fearful, and guilty. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, number 3. Without a clear-cut positive goal set at the outset, the situation just seems to happen and makes no sense until it has already happened. Then you look back at it and try to piece together what it must have meant, and you will be wrong. Not only is your judgment in the past, but you have no idea what should happen. No goal was set with which to bring the means in line. And now the only judgment left to make is whether or not the ego likes it. Is it acceptable, or does it call for vengeance? The absence of a criterion for outcome set in advance makes understanding doubtful and evaluation impossible. Yeah, so that's what we tend to do with situations. That's why we hold them in memory, is because we're always looking back at them. And we're holding an interpretation or a judgment, which means that it's not going to be accurate because interpretation is subjective. So, yeah, that's why 3 says, and you will be wrong. So the goal here is what brings the means in line. So the attention follows the goal. You see what I'm saying? Because the attention is, what's the word? Is not hold. Seeing with the body's eyes is very specific. So it doesn't capture everything in the situation. So if it's not, so you need the goal to direct the attention. Otherwise, the attention is really scattered, and so it's chaotic. There's no, it's trying to piece meaning together when there's no goal that directs it. So the mind sees what it wants to see, period. The body's eyes are not the ones that see. It's the mind that tell the eyes what to see. Does that make sense? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boy, this is really, really a big piece. Deciding, okay, 4, the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is simply that you will perceive the situation as a means to make it happen. You will therefore make every effort to overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your objective and concentrate on everything that helps you meet it. It is quite noticeable that this approach has brought you closer to the Holy Spirit's sorting out of truth and falsity. The true becomes what can be used to meet the goal. The false becomes the useless from this point of view. The situation now has meaning, but only because the goal has made it meaningful.
Yes. So if you think of the experience here in time as a dream, okay, the dream symbols are not going to make any sense unless you have a purpose or a goal with which to look at them. That's what gives them meaning. So,
Mm-hmm.
in the first few lessons of the course, it's a cup, yes, but what's the meaning of that cup? Well, the cup is only going to have the meaning that I give it. It's not going to have meaning of itself.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
so line 4, the true becomes what can be used to meet the goal. So we're either using time in our experiences in time to meet the goal of Holy Spirit, healing for our mind, which is, forgiveness and love, or we're basically just not assigning anything. And then it's basically just chaos because then we're just reacting with our ego to the situation based on our past preferences. Do I like this or do I not like this? Okay, well, I hate it. So I'm going to be really pissed and upset and angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we end up just being reactive, not responding, but reacting to the situation.
Yeah, not proactive. That line 2 really caught my attention. You will therefore make every effort to overlook what is interfering with that objective. That's a key piece because I know for myself, I tend to, as soon as something that's a little negative or isn't fitting what I want, then I can glam onto that. and then get stuck in that whole, oh, this is terrible, blah, 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 rather than overlook. Yeah, that's a big piece.
Yeah, and another word for overlooking is forgiveness. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
just forgiving it. Yeah. The error.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hmm.
Okay, number 5. The goal of truth has further practical advantages. If the situation is used for truth and sanity, its outcome must be peace. And this is quite apart from what the outcome is. If peace is the condition of truth and sanity and cannot be without them, where peace is, they must be. Truth comes of itself. If you experience peace, it is because the truth has come to you, and you will see the outcome truly, for deception cannot prevail against you. You will recognize the outcome because you are at peace. Here again, you see the opposite of the ego's way of looking, for the ego believes the situation brings the experience. As Holy Spirit knows that the situation is as the goal determines it and is experienced according to the goal. Okay, so this is also really, really important here to understand in terms of our experiences. Yeah, so the ego believes the situation brings the experience. So we always feel like, oh, that situation made me so angry. Okay, that's believing that the situation is causal and is giving me the experience of how I feel. Okay, so no longer is my mind the causal level. That's level confusion. Okay, or belief in magic. Okay, the Holy Spirit knows that the situation is always determined by the goal, the purpose that we give it. Okay, so the mind is causal because the mind is the decision maker of the purpose of what it's for. Okay, and so the experience then follows that. Um, yeah, so the goal, so the situation is always used for truth and sanity. And I always say the healing of the mind, which is the same thing because inner peace is health. So the outcome must be peace. And so that must be healing, that must be health. Um, and this is quite apart from what the outcome is. Okay, so does that make sense? Because this is saying, all right, that irregardless of how the situation turns out in terms of the story, okay, if the goal is the truth, we will always have an experience of peace. Okay, irregardless of, who wins the game. You see what I'm saying? Oh, it wasn't my team. Okay, well, um, if the goal is the truth, I'm not going to be upset by that. Okay. But if the goal is to win my bet against my brother, I'm going to be upset by that because I have invested in taking a side. So I have invested in separation and in judgment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then I'm thinking, okay, so if the goal is peace, so okay, right now I have a friend in the hospital who just had open heart surgery, and I'm thinking, okay, the goal is, well, what is the goal? The healing of minds. So
Well, the goal is truth.
there,
Yeah, the
I
goal.
just,
Yeah.
that's the goal always, the healing of minds.
Yes, yes. The truth, and because that's truth and sanity. The healing of minds is truth and sanity. Anything else is going to be sickness. And
Wow.
that's what the ego is. The ego is a sickness of the mind.
Irregardless of what appears to be going on, person's sick, can't eat, or whatever, the goal is always the healing of the mind, even no matter how it looks.
Exactly.
It's tricky. Yeah. Okay. There's
Well,
only one goal, so that makes it simpler. if you remember the
Yeah,
goal.
yeah. And it's tricky because a sick body is sick, you know, someone that is in the hospital, okay,
Mm,
is an appearance that of something that is not true, okay? It's witnessing to the separation from what we are as
mm,
eternal spirit that cannot die.
mhm.
So it's witnessing to the belief that we are a body that can die, suffer and die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's, you know, we're so used to that it is
Yeah.
it's tricky to remember that, oh, okay, well, that's not the goal. Okay, so 6.
The goal of truth requires faith. There you go. Faith is implicit in the acceptance of the Holy Spirit's purpose, and this faith is all inclusive. Where the goal of truth is set, there faith must be. The Holy Spirit sees the situation as a whole. The goal establishes the fact that everyone involved in it will play his part in its accomplishment. This is inevitable. No one will fail in anything. This seems to ask for faith beyond you and beyond what you can give. Yet, this is so only from the viewpoint of the ego. For the ego believes in quote unquote solving conflict through fragmentation and does not perceive the situation as a whole. Therefore, it seeks to split off segments of the situation and deal with them separately, for it has faith in separation and not in wholeness. Hmm. What does it mean, all inclusive? This faith is all inclusive. That's
Yeah, it's not going to leave anything out. So it's not going to judge and pick, oh, this is positive and this is negative. I only want
mm,
the positive. I'm going to leave the negative out. So it's going to look at the whole situation without judgment. Because once you
mm.
start judging the situation, you're going to break it up into pieces.
Oh, brother, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
And
mm,
so that's what we do is we judge the situation and then we start to split up segments and then we try to deal with them separately.
mm,
Okay. And that doesn't work because we're missing the big picture. Holy Spirit has
mm,
the big picture. So that it doesn't focus on just what people do. You know, the act itself can be misleading because what someone does can be used for Holy Spirit purpose or for ego purpose. It's the same doing. Um, so it's not, it's not about judging the specific doings. It's about
mm,
letting the Holy Spirit and trusting, that's the faith, that everything works for good. And if the goal of the situation is truth, then you tend to want to step back from judging it and you allow it to just be,
mm.
you see,
Yeah.
without the urgency and the need to like, fix it, take care of it, or do something, or
Mhm.
go into survival or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Number 7.
Fragmentation.
So, confronted with any aspect of the situation that seems to be difficult, the ego will attempt to take this aspect elsewhere and resolve it there.
Mm,
And it will seem to be successful, except that this attempt conflicts with unity and must obscure the goal of truth. And peace will not be experienced except in fantasy. Truth has not come because faith has been denied, being withheld from where it rightfully belonged. Thus, do you lose the understanding of the situation the goal of truth would bring. For fantasy solutions bring but the illusion of experience, and the illusion of peace is not the condition in which truth can enter. So fantasy solution bring out the illusion of experience, brings but the illusion of experience, and the illusion. Okay. Okay, so it's not real peace. It's it's our own version of what we think peace is. Maybe, hey, it's getting my way. If I get my way, then I will be at peace. Because I will stop fighting with you if you just give in to everything I want. Okay, that's my version of peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is an illusion. So that's a fantasy solution.
So line 8, no, 4, truth has not come because faith has been denied. Just that word faith again. I mean, how to really use that.
Well, faith,
Faith.
we deny faith. What it is that we trust in our own little ego resources to take care of the problem.
Well,
Rather
that's ego
than
faith.
that's
That's ego
ego.
faith.
Yes. And that's why truth has not come, because true faith has been denied to the Holy Spirit.
So true faith, how is that done?
Okay. Okay. So,
That's a big
so the way,
question. That's a big question.
yes. So I can only share my experience here. Okay.
Okay,
So for
good.
me, it comes through recognizing that, okay, I have no control of the situation. Okay. That the little I, the little ego, does not have control of the situation. Okay. Because to the ego, situations just happen.
Yeah.
Right. And then I react to them. Okay. So to the little I have no control of the situation. So if I have no control of the situation, okay, rather than feeling powerless, I
Okay.
give it to the Holy Spirit.
Rather than feeling powerless, because I was thinking, oh, okay, well, I'm powerless.
Well, yeah, but but rather than feeling powerless as my little self, which is powerless, the ego is powerless. It's a
Okay.
delusion of grandeur. It's not power. It's not real power. Because once
Oh,
you project the power of the mind onto the situation, you have abdicated the seat of decision making as the Son, Holy Son of God. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So once
say
we,
that again.
okay,
I just
all right.
spaced out.
So once we identify with the ego and try to handle the situation ourselves, okay, we are seeing the situation as if it needs to be controlled because
Yeah.
it's out of control.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And it feels out of control because we have projected the situation and are not taking responsibility for being the one that's making it.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we think we're powerless and that the situation is making us feel terrible.
Out of control.
That's right. Okay. So, I mean, we feel, excuse the word, but, screwed over.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
fucked. We're fucked.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. Exactly. So rather than going that route, I recognize, yes, I don't have control of the situation. Okay. I'm going to give it to the Holy Spirit,
There you
who
go.
has
Yeah.
the big picture that I cannot see.
Put it on the altar.
Yes. And then
Here.
and then I just trust, because I can't trust in myself in that situation. I'm powerless.
Yeah, I can't trust in myself. Okay.
I need help.
Well, but then it kind of, I think the course is kind of saying, well, we have the power to decision. Like,
Well, that's what I'm using. I'm using the power of decision to give it to the Holy Spirit.
okay,
Because that's a change in the what I had decided, which was to identify with the ego and give it to the
okay,
ego.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm making it more complicated than it is. Yes, I see that. Yeah. Faith. Okay, so faith in the Holy Spirit.
Well, yes, because that is our higher self. That is our true self. The little ego is not our true self. The self that feels powerless in a situation is not our true self. That's not the self that God created.
Right, right. Hmm. There's something that I can't seem to let in with that faith is my higher self.
No, not faith, the Holy Spirit,
Yeah, faith is the Holy Spirit. But when
which
you
is
say
my
my
higher
higher self,
self, right?
then,
Because it's the memory of the truth of what I am.
mhm,
It's the voice for God. So it's
mhm.
my link to God. So in that link, which is in my mind, is the truth of what I am.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
and what I
there's
am is oneness. So the Holy Spirit is also what I am. God is also what I am. My brother is also what I am, because everything is oneness.
I see that that's something I'm not quite embracing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. It's like there wants to be that little bit of a separation still. I can fix it. I can do it.
Of course. Of course.
It's good to look at that.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's really, excuse me, but it's it's really arrogance.
No, that's good. I
Yeah.
appreciate, yeah, it's
Yeah.
arrogant. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's just what the course calls the capriciousness of the ego.
Hmm.
It's a strong-willed little baby, toddler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
That's a big arrogance. Yeah, I can fix it. I'm gonna try like hell to fix
Uh-huh.
it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah. What that's yeah, like a screaming little kid.
Hmm.
Arr!
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Oh man.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Faith.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, good. Thank you.
Oh, yes, you're welcome. Okay, setting the goal. So that was short, but that was sweet.
Well, that's a lot to sit with for the day. Setting the goal. I think that's what there's somewhere in the text too. Did we already do that section about setting the goal of the day? And then it has all these different steps.
I don't think we've gone to that yet.
Huh.
But
Okay. Yeah. I
yes.
get where that is. But setting the goal, first thing. Okay. Yeah.
What do I want this day to be
Peace
like? Yeah, peace.
and healing
Peace.
of all minds.
Hmm. Yeah, which is the truth. It's the will of God,
Mm.
right? That is God's will.
Oh man, I have a lot of opportunities to work with all this today. So,
Okay.
meeting with lots of people. So, this will be good.
Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Okay, so until next time, thank you. Bye.